Hey everybody, Michael Pilhofer back for another Technique Hub episode on MSP Fitness TV. We're going to be talking the clean, and this is the second part in our three-part series on the clean. If you hadn't had a second to check out our first video, reference that because we're going to pick right up where we left off from that start position into how now we're going to pull the bar off of the floor and then eventually into the rack. So, for some of the unique considerations around the clean, we actually have a little storyboard that I want to take a peek at. And from that, you're going to see that we've illustrated through our little healthy stick figure kind of two environments, a good old-fashioned conventional deadlift, and here now just kind of our clean environment. And I think the first thing that you want to notice is just the start positions being different. But before we even get there, let's just acknowledge the fact that a conventional deadlift, where we're thinking in terms of max weight from the floor to where ultimately finishing at the hips, is a completely different scenario versus a clean, which again, near maximal weight, but not maximal as a deadlift is going to be, with the receiving position being up into the rack position of a front squat. If we think about where that bar starts and where the bar finishes, that is a different relationship. In a deadlift, we're thinking of just simply a straight line, which is also why we talk about that slightly higher hip start position that allows us to simply take it from the floor right to the finish in a straight dead line, floor to the hip. Clean, on the other hand, if you take a peek in this second image, you're going to see that that bar, due to the fact that that rack position is back from where the bar starts off of the floor, that we need to encourage that bar to sweep into us. And you hear sometimes thrown around into the weightlifting terms this idea of an S curve. And if you take a look at this green dotted line, and I can just kind of show you here in a separate, that bar is going to come back off the floor and then kind of curl around once it comes in through the hip, punch out just slightly as we drive it up over through the torso, and then it kind of hooks back in and racks on the shoulders. So if we're going to take from here into kind of this virtual stick figure, let's take it over to the platform and see some actual lifts in action. Okay, let's make sure that we're on the same page regarding that start position. So Taylor's going to approach the bar. He knows where his feet need to be. He's going to drop down, take that hand position that we established in that first video, pull himself tall as he brings that bar in proximity to his shin. All right, so let's take a look at a couple of important considerations. This angle between hip and shoulder, this needs to be maintained as he drives off the floor. And the second piece, which is congruent with all pulling off of the floor, is he needs to think about legs. His legs start the lift. He's pushing his full foot into the floor as he drives this first pull from the floor to the hips. And what we mean by that is that's heel, big toe, little toe. That's that tripod foot that we talked about. Now, again, going back to that diagram and using this PVC, based on that bar starting a little bit over midfoot, as he comes off of that floor, take a look at how much that bar sweeps into him. It's a couple of inches that comes back as it comes up and over the kneecap. And that's a really important consideration relative to this first pull, as we then in a future video talk about then it completing into that second pull and the finish position in the rack. All right, so let's talk just kind of big picture programming application for how this can work for you. First off, for a new lifter, this is a great exercise, especially if conventional deadlift is more where you're coming from. This is a great exercise to work for learning the new pattern off of the floor. So you can load this up. I would keep it relatively low reps, 5 or less. Triples are wonderful, especially initially, but don't hesitate as time goes on, as experience comes along, get into some doubles, get into some heavy singles as well. Other ways that you can kind of even break it down further can be looking at breaking the clean grip deadlift into pieces, focusing on just breaking the floor 1 inch, pause, taking it up to below the knee, weight over the knee, hold, then finish. So it's kind of a 3 or a segmented clean grip. So again, break the floor, below the knee, above the knee, stand up all the way. You can also take it into just kind of a mid-thigh hold or just a single segment. So you're going to take it from the floor, take it up, just hold it at mid-thigh, and then stand up from there. Again, these just kind of exaggerate the different aspects of where a weakness might show itself or an inability to keep that chest nice and tall. Another simple way is just make an exaggerated negative where, again, you take the lift all the way up and just do a horrible 5+ second negative as it takes it from the top into that bottom position. These are all ways to kind of overload aspects of that movement to show or expose where a weakness might be within the lifter. There's no right or wrong. This is where, again, a coach in a relationship with a client can really work well to make sure that you're prescribing the right thing. So Hopefully from that, you've enjoyed now our second part of our three-part series on the clean. Make sure to look out for our third part where we're gonna really put it all together, take it from the floor into the full lift. All right, you gotta make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out at mspfitness.com. Have a wonderful day.